Welcome to the House of Legends podcast, where great women become exceptional. I am your host, Graciela, founder and CEO of the House of Legends by Graciela, a mindset coach and mother of three beautiful kids. My mission and passion is to provide you with the tools that will allow you to unlock and bring out the best version of yourself, which is the key to all change. Some of those tools are mindset, identity work, and emotional mastery. Not only that, but I will also bring you powerful conversations with legends like you, showcasing their journey, life work, and allowing us to learn from their experiences and insights. So don't miss an episode. Tune in each week to the House of Legends podcast and let's unlock the power of your own legend. Let's dive in today's episode. Goddess. It's like a Shakira. You are the Shakira of the branding. I'm telling you, like when I see you, it's like, it's just like this beautiful energy. But going back home, Cass, she has a company where she bring her intuitive gifts and she's able to give suggestions about how our brands can be more authentic and express our gifts. So one of the things that I would love to ask, and we can dive in during our conversation here about the name Wild Dreams. And I noticed that you mentioned in one of the publications, by the way, now that bringing all the acknowledgments, you were published in one of the magazines, like the Gospel magazine, right? Where they were talking about the meaning about the name, and I will leave that to you as well. And one of the energies as a one three manifestor, manifestor generator, I'm 1-3 manifestor, just pure manifestor. So it's like this beautiful, like um I don't know how to call it, but it's really nice to be in your energy. It's really nice to even to see the graphics. You speak so much, but I can go on and on. Please stop me. Like I can go on and on and on and on. And I would love for you, Cass, introduce yourself. Let us know what led you to where you are right now. And most important here, who's the woman behind the business?
Yes. Okay. First of all, to be compared to Shakira, like what?
Well,
Thank you so much for that. Like that was amazing. I've loved Shakira ever since like Hips Don't Lie and being
oh,
trying to like belly dance like her and everything else. So that is like incredible. So thank you so much. Um, but yeah, I want to say like I want to just touch on that piece there because there is this energy that I bring, and it is this boldness, but it is also like the softness because I genuinely care about like every single thing that I do, and I bring that like intentionality and intuitive and this iconic touch into like every single brand and woman that I've worked with, right? So thank you again for that. I'll start a little bit about me. So I'm Cass. My real name is Cassandra, but everybody calls me Cass for short. Um, and I'm a mom of three boys. They are actually the inspiration behind my name. So,
mhm.
um, when I first started with that name, I only had two boys at that time. And I thought of like wild because my boys are wild. Like it's just who they are. It's what
Energy.
they yeah, it's just like what they bring out, the energy, and I love it. Like I'm here for it. Like I always thought I would be a girl mom, and it turns out that the universe, God wanted me to have all boys. So, and that's what I was with, and I love it so much. So that was where the wild part came from. And then dreams, that really stems from me, like as a child. Like I've always been immersed in Disney movies. I've always loved Tinkerbell, like the magic behind things, like the dreams that Disney brought in, and like hearing Disney story and all of that. And I actually have like on my foot tattooed like never stop dreaming. So
What?
I'm all about like dreaming and dreams. So like that's really where my name stemmed from, like wild dreams. Now I call it Wild Dreams Studio instead of Wild Dreams Co. But you'll see that change kind of trickle out soon. Um, but yeah, that's kind of like behind the brand is like Wild Dreams Studio. Wild Dreams, where the name came from, and it was inspired by my boys. And I have been a self-taught graphic designer for over 16 years. It's kind of how I got started. I worked with a lot of baby companies, and I worked with the company that owns Party City, which is like party supplies and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
um, I worked at those two companies, well, a lot of years ago, but when I transitioned to being a mom, I wanted to be closer to my family. Like in the beginning with both of my boys, when I first started out, I was working in Manhattan. So that it was about like 12-hour days. I was out of the house for
Oh,
like 12-hour days. My oldest son used to come with me to the city and go to daycare right around the corner. And that was really hard to bring like a toddler with you every single day, wake up super early, 6:30 in the morning, get on the train by 7, get him out the door, off to daycare, pick him up. So it was a long day for both of us. And it was back and forth, back and forth. And then I was pregnant with my second son. And I found a daycare closer to home, thankfully. But with my second son, I was doing it again, going back and forth to the city. So when he was about 7 months old is when I transitioned to a job up here. I worked at that job for 3, 4 years. And when the pandemic hit, I was already working on this business for just around 2 years. And it was really hard because I knew I wanted something more than just a corporate job. Like, you have that like yearning inside of you, and you're like, oh, I want something more. I don't want to be stuck behind a desk all day. And I felt like I had no purpose, right? Like you're just stuck behind a desk doing work for somebody else. There's no meaning behind it. There's no like customer support kind of aspect, no like interconnection with people than only the people that you work with. So that's kind of how I was feeling. So I decided to take a leap and invest in myself. And that's kind of like where this all like stemmed from was taking a leap and finally investing in myself, doing something for myself. And this took a lot because I know like as moms, we have that like super mom guilt, right? Like this like guilt, like who am I to spend this much money on myself? Who am I to really invest in myself when I should be buying clothes for my kids or groceries or whatever it is and giving back to my family, right? But this time it was different. I'm like, you know what? I know I need to do this for myself so that I can lead my family out of this generational patterns here and do something completely different than what anyone else has done in my family, right? So that's kind of where I was at. And when the pandemic hit about like 2 years after that, so I was working 6 days a week. I was building this business on the side. When the pandemic hit and I became pregnant with my third son, is when I finally took the leap. And I was like, you know what? I need to do this for my family. This is it. This is my sign. Like, I'm going to just take the leap and go full time into my business. And that was what, like 4 years ago, going on 4 years, going on 3 years. I don't remember the dates.
something
I'm
like
not
that.
dates, something like that. But yeah, that's like he was the one who really changed everything for me because I was not able to be home with my first two sons. Like, but with him, I've been with him home ever since and building this business with him right by my side. So um we have our days because he's just turned 3 years old. So, like, there's challenges left and right, but at the same time, all of my clients are like so understanding. They resonate so much with me being a mom, me building a business, me guiding them so that they can be themselves, so that they can be moms, so they can have their freedom, just like I'm creating for myself. So,
I love that, Cass. And I would love to go a little bit deeper if you, of course, agree in this one. When you mention about investing in yourself and your business and the feelings about maybe guilt, maybe labels that we can put because we have kids, as well as you, you have 3 kids, 2 daughters and my son. And one of the things that I had to change big shift for me was redefining my role as a mom. I
Mm,
kept seeing myself like, well, I'm just a mom. I am the one that buy the things for my kids. I have to have one of this radical conversations with myself that if I want to give something really good for my kids, they deserve to have a better mom. And when I say better mom, a mom that is totally expressed, is
mm,
totally um, that a mom that has developed her gifts, her dreams, and that she's not afraid even to invest. Also that came as well to reforming the meanings about debt. But I would love to know in your particular case how you reframe that, how you snap out from that state, because I know many listeners, maybe they're entrepreneurs, maybe they're moms, maybe they're doing something good, right? But they want to take that leap. They want to go to the next level, a step, whatever that might looks for them. But they know that there's an investment and they have kids like us. How was your thought process, like I said, to snap out from that and you can say to that woman that is on the other side?
uh, so I think the thought process behind it was knowing that when you better yourself, you get to better the other people around you, right? So like it's scary, yes, but like and it's way out of your comfort zone. But honestly, like staying safe just feels like it felt boring to me at that point. Like it was just like, do I want to just stay safe and stay inside of a job and do this forever? Or do I want to try something different for my family? If
Mm,
it doesn't work, it doesn't work, right? Like it's just like we have to look at things like money is energy, right? So like if it doesn't work, it's just money and it's I can try again. I can try something different. It's kind of like this energy of like I like to tell this to my clients too sometimes is like trying it on, right? Like the same thing with clothes. Like we don't know how it's gonna fit unless we actually try it on. So like looking at the investment in that way, like feel into the person that you want to make your investment with. Go on their Instagram, listen to their stories, listen to what they have to say, see their posts, see how it feels in your body. How does it land with you? As a manifesting generator, you know that I have a sacral response. I know that you are a manifester, so you do things your own way, which is very
yeah,
innovative and fun. But I look at things like my sacral response, right? Like, so if you're a Gen or a Manny Gen, like you have a sacral response. So look at things in that way where it's like, ooh, does it turn you on? Does it like feel really
cut
good
you off.
inside your
Yeah,
body? Right. Like, so
sure.
think of things like that, especially when you're ready to make an investment in yourself, right? So like I did a lot of research. Like that's part of our one line, right? Like I do a lot of
Mhm.
research. When I'm ready to work with somebody, I do a lot of research and I like go into their Instagram. I feel their energy. I go into their sales page, see how it feels. Of course, I look at branding. Branding is part of my thing. So I have to look at their branding. Like that's why I resonated with you because you have a beautiful brand. And I'm like, oh my God, I love her brand. I love the way she speaks, like her tone, her boldness. Like I love it. She's such a manifester, right? So like I told you that from the beginning. But these are the things that I do that I find myself connected with somebody else's energy. In the beginning, I didn't know all of this. Like, I didn't know how to trust all of my intuition. I didn't know anything about human design. I wasn't aware. I didn't have the awareness, the self-awareness, the self-leadership, the emotional intelligence. I didn't have any of that when I was in the beginning stages. I just knew that I wanted something more. So what I did was I did the research. I found a Facebook group that I really resonated with and I found a coach that was inside of that Facebook group and I really liked her energy and I liked what she was talking about and I downloaded some of her freebies before I decided to go in and kind of found myself in her free master classes and things like that. And then I realized that she was working with the person who ran that Facebook group and then it just became aligned and I
Like,
just said yes, you know. So I think it's just about like um now we are like over consuming in a sense, like if you look at it now. So I think like be discerning with your time and your energy and who you're following and the freebies that you're downloading, because right now, like if someone is just starting out in their business now, you can get lost in a sea of like 10,000 freebie downloads and then find yourself like never wanting to begin because you have no idea where to begin or where to start, right?
Yeah.
So I think just like finding a few key people that you really resonate with and start to consume their energy, start to consume their free content and see if it's the right fit for you when you actually want to go and invest in yourself.
Mhm.
So I,
I
I
love
know that was a long-winded answer.
No, but I love it. I love it. And I love the fact also that you mentioned about the human design, that those are tools that we learn on the way. Like,
Mhm.
because it's like everything. And we share also the line three. Like go and do the thing.
I
We
love
don't like right. We go, I'm not one in my vocabulary, I don't use the word try. We do it. We do it. If we fuck it up, like we did. But like you said, we move, and there's people like all we are different, but you mentioned something really amazing that we use our discernment. We use what feels right. We all natural know,
it.
right? So when you have to convince yourself, it's like, it's kind of like that. But I love the explanation that you give us about reframing, about investing, about moving. And other thing that I would love to move forward now that when you decide to do all this full time and raising your now 3-year old like with you and the business, what are where do you think that was after that move that changes the most notable changes maybe in your mindset, maybe in your identity, how you made that transition more smooth? Like you're no longer in a big corporation, you're no longer with a paycheck, quote unquote. How you build that new identity? What was your mindset shift around safetyness, or even patience? Because we're building a business and things not happen like it could happen really, really fast, right? But there's sometimes like there's a time like to cultivate, to um, do freebies, like you said, or things like that. And there's a time that we now attracting clients. But how was for you? How was it for you on that in that stage specifically, and also raising a 3-year-old, like having a baby while you having another baby in line?
Yeah, so I think for me it was about learning how to like manage my time and energy like
Mm.
correctly, right? So I feel like this is like a big thing for so many people, especially when they like just like jump into full time, which is like what I did. Like I was building my business, but then at the same time I jump into full time and I'm like, wait, I'm not working 6 days a week anymore and on my business. Like I have all this free time. So I think it's about like managing your time correctly and doing things that are going to move the needle forward in your business, right? Like and I want to say I mean, so many people talk about consistency, but I'm going to say this, like it has to be consistency, but with your energy, right? Like,
Yeah,
so if it's not like if you're in a day where you're like feeling completely down on yourself, and this is going to happen, it happens to every single woman, especially like during her time, like so
yeah.
it's going to happen no matter what. You're going to have days where you're going to feel down on yourself. You're going to have days where your limiting beliefs are going to rise again. I think that it's all around like the emotional intelligence that you hold for yourself, one, leading yourself. Like, are you actually leading yourself and holding yourself with the integrity that you're putting into your business? Are you putting that into yourself as well?
Mm.
And next is like moving the needle forward in your business. Like, are you taking action where you want to take action? Or are you just showing up on social media all of the time because you feel like you have to?
Yes.
Right. So I feel like it's not about like the shoulds and the have tos in a sense. It's more about like what actually feels good to you and what are some activities you could be doing in your business that are going to move you a little bit forward, right? So
Mm.
like for me, during those times, like I would create free master classes because I love being engaged with people. Like, so I would create free master classes, invite people in and then invite them into offers. I would reach out to past clients and see if they had any referrals and give a referral fee. Like, that was another thing that I would love to do. I love to send out emails and give value and provide value. So I have like I set up my free like email workflow, like a nurture sequence in my emails. What else? Like showing up on social media, on Pinterest, just kind of sharing like my knowledge, like not being afraid to like share your knowledge and kind of like things that you love to do, because the more that I share, like the more that I share about real life and mom and being the CEO and all of the things, like the more people resonate with you. So I think sharing things like that, sharing your story, like not being afraid to share your story, because I really feel like that's how people really truly connect with you. You don't have to share all of the nitty-gritty details of your story. You can share bits and pieces, just like how I did with you right here on this podcast, right? Like I'm sharing little bits and pieces of every single story that has led me to where I am now. So I think just like building connections, and there's so many ways to build more connections now too. There's so many online networking groups, there's virtual networking groups, there's in-person networking. There's you can build referral partners with people. Like I've built referral partners with business coaches who want to bring in a branding expert and want to give their clients an elevated experience, right? Because now they're so like deep dived into business, now they want a brand to match their new elevated business level, right? So like things like that where I've created referral partners. So I think just like doing things in your own innovative way into like what feels good for you and like what's going to move the needle forward in your business, right? Like I've started showing up more in networking groups to see who I can connect with inside of there. So it's like you never know who you're going to meet. You never know what the outcome is. And don't always make it mean about the money, right? Like we're here to help each other grow and rise. And if I can bring my value onto somebody else's podcast like yours, or if I can bring my value onto a stage and speak as a speaker, or like it could be any little thing that's going to move the needle in your business, and it doesn't always have to be just about the money itself. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. And I love the fact and the way, really, the listeners will really appreciate this conversation because the way that you express yourself is so like light, is so like impeccable. And I'm not just emphasizing those words because I can really feel that your energy is so like the word that intuitive, so like you're not I don't feel the force in the way that you explain like, hey, this is what it is, we can do this, there's no shoots. I think that beautiful balance is one of the things that also when I was in your page attract a lot because it's just
Awesome.
like no force, it's just like pure attraction. It feels right to be there. And of course, this is our due diligence offer our services, but it's like, hey, here's what I have. Pick it. If not, awesome, right? It's not like a neediness. And you can feel when someone is like, I need you, I want you. It's like,
Right. Yeah.
you even like, oh, I don't want that so much attention. Yeah, it feels for invitations. I don't know. I mean, I bet you receive a lot of invitations to even podcasts or doing lives or you name it. And if you can feel when someone is like with this energy of taking, and it's like it feels right. And just also decline or even just not answer them. Right. I just decline. I don't ghost them anymore. But it's like, no, thank you so much. I pass. That's it. But
Yeah.
you can feel, and I can feel that with you. And
Thank
I would love to know. Um, do you have this gift like and you I love the boldness that you said like I put it even on my life word that I'm intuitive. I can tell what could be. I can suggest. I'm not going to impose. I'm going to suggest what can bring more of your brand or but and I don't have the words to the brand. You are the expert here. But how you can express your life work through your visuals, through the the not only the colors. I think branding is just more. It's just an expression of who we are, right? So I would love to know if that intuitive gift will have intuition, but some people have developed that gift more than others. That gift you have, do you since always you have that awareness of being intuitive, or you've been developing this intuition with the time or with the learning lessons?
Yeah, I think the more we practice our intuition, the stronger it gets,
Yeah,
right?
it's
So
like a
like
muscle. Yeah.
exactly. So I definitely see in the past like 2, 3 years how much stronger my intuition has developed. And I think it's also because of all the lessons that I've been through. And
Mm.
if you really like, if you give your chance like a minute here and you're listening to this today and you go back and think of a time where it was a really big lesson in your life. It was a really big challenge. It was really, really hard to go through, and you really struggled through it. Think of that time and think of what your intuition was actually trying to tell you at that time. See if you can pick up the lesson from that moment, right? So
Yeah.
like this is what I do sometimes is I look back into like things where I'm like, yeah, I should have listened to my intuition at that time. I should have trusted it because I'll give you like a quick example. There
Yeah.
was one time that I had a sales coach and I had hired her and I was like, oh yes, I need sales. So let me hire a sales coach. I'm going to invest with her. It was probably one of the biggest investments that I made. I even had to like split it on 2 credit cards at that time. It was like a $6,000 investment. And she was like pressuring me on the phone a little bit. Like,
Mm.
oh, let's set you up right now. Let's get you situated over the phone. And to me, it felt really uncomfortable because again, I'm that one line. I want to do my research. I want to see your
No, the nitty-gritty. Yeah.
I want to see your contract first. I want to see your proposal. Like, send me your client testimonial, that kind of thing. Like, I want to see a sales page kind of thing. Like, I want to dive in. So it felt like really uncomfortable. And when she asked me, like, oh, so what's stopping you right now? And I was like, well, I kind of want to see things. Oh, but then that's going to stop you in your sales. And she kept going on and on. And I knew something didn't feel right. But I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? Let me just do it. Let me just make this big investment in myself and see what happens. A little while down, I had maybe 2 phone calls with her, and she had said something like she didn't even know what my business was. Like she didn't even understand what my business was. And I was like, well, as a sales coach, aren't you supposed to kind of like do research on your client a little bit more and like actually understand what they do? Like, I mean, that's what I would want to do if I'm working with someone, right? So I felt like she didn't even know me. And there was a point that I had to tell her, you know what, this is not for me. I need some kind of like refund or something. So I kind of made a little excuse and was like, oh, I need the money for my family, blah, blah, blah. And she actually ended up charging me like 2K for like 2 phone calls. And I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna bite the bullet. But it was really hard to have that confrontation and that like stand up for yourself in a sense because I wasn't used to that at that point. This was like maybe 3 years ago. And I wasn't used to like standing up for myself and building that confrontation. But I knew in like my intuition was trying to tell me, like, okay, something feels weird here, something feels weird. Like, this is a red flag, this is a red flag. So now when I go back and look at it, like, okay, you saw the red flags. What can you do going forward when those red flags come up again because you remember how that felt in your body that first time that that happened to you?
Yeah, that's true.
When I asked for that refund, what happened? Immediately after, I had like 2 clients come in and totaled that 2K that I just lost out with her. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
like that was like my sign of like, okay, you did the right thing. You trusted yourself to move and to ask for that refund back and to cancel that sales coach or whatever. So like it could be like any little thing in your life. And that's kind of how we like build this intuition muscle, like you said, like this intuition development and like really start to like process it and trust our journey and trust that these things and these challenges are meant to help us grow in a sense. So
Yeah.
those are like just some examples. I have so many examples of like times when I should have trusted my intuition and I didn't, but then afterwards, like something better came of it, you know? So, I think just like looking at it in that sense, and uh, I mean, like intuition goes right along with like emotional intelligence too, and how we lead ourselves, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that that's kind of like,
I love that. And you know what? One of the things that in energetic makeup is that we want to, like you said, investigate everything, but the other part of us is just like taking the leap in
mhm,
meeting, right? So it's like two energies that actually are working together. Because when I see back, and you mentioned, thanks for mentioning and this example, because it's really sometimes we see things like, oh, my intuition was telling me, or I was feeling in my belly, or something was kind of not right. But one of the things that I've been reframing, and with things like this as well, I've been through things like that as well, is just to say, you know what? Thanks God that this happened right now, and not 10 years ahead when I'm having a business that producing millions, whatever, right? So thank, because this I'm not calling mistake. This the tour only cost me 3K, 2K. Thanks God, because I learned a lesson. Or now, like you mentioned, like I really resonate with you that sometimes we want to say yes and it doesn't feel right, but I already commit my word. I already said yes. We can always reaffirm and having those uncomfortable conversations. And when we have those uncomfortable conversations, we're not only standing up for ourselves, but also creating this deeper I will say muscle, like when another client can come and we're now having the energetic blueprint to have that conversation without holding back, or having this beautiful understanding. So I think there is always a win-win situation when we see it that way. And
mhm,
as well, like you mentioned as well, that you attract the money, like the money was yours, like even with those two clients you did attract it. And that lesson, what, as we mentioned, that lesson, that learning curve, now it's part of your psyche, you know it. You can lead a client, you can express it here in the podcast. So I think that is so beautiful. Us and all the listeners that share the line 1 and 3, we are we are those brave ones. But
mhm,
sometimes things happen, right? But
yeah,
when we're framing like that, it's like, oh, this was cheaper, because in the future that is going to save me a lot. Not only
mhm,
entering into the right environments, into the right opportunities, but also leading with example, because I do have that code in my psyche. So
mhm, yes.
that is it is so beautiful. And one of the things that also caught my attention on your life work is that you are, and I can tell you mentioned this early in the conversation, that you care. I
Yeah.
can tell that you care. I don't and yes, of course, there has to be a balance. No, like, well, I do care and I do value my services. No, I think you have that balance as well, like going for the things that you really want. But I can feel that you care. I can feel that you're not like just like, well, to sign up or having that pressure, like with that kind of coaches that have pressure, or like the fear of missing out. I think that those strategies are no longer working, like,
I
oh,
couldn't
one,
agree
right?
more. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would love to know more about, and I read a lot, but I would love to bring what is right now that you have your company, you get yourself beautiful clients. I think one of your clients, it's actually Christina Lacari. I don't know
Oh,
how.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I used to work with her, so she's
Oh,
really, really
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I see that you are building something really amazing. So what is the vision that you're picturing? And I'm not gonna ask the cliche question, how do you see yourself in 3 years and 5 years? No, I mean, what is the big picture? No, because if we have a big picture, it has no like due date, it has no time. What you would love to see your company turning into, and your kids, are you thinking about leading them also in the entrepreneurial space? What are the thoughts right there? Because I bet with your 3-year-old, and even with the other your other kids that are even bigger, they see mom in Zoom calls, they see mom working from home. And there's some questions. First, I was having a lot of questions. Why are you in Zoom? Why you don't go like other moms, right? So I would love to know what is that overall vision, and if you are thinking about putting or not putting, bringing your kids in entrepreneurial and giving them also that freedom if they choose to.
Yeah, oh, such a good question. So many,
It's
so
a
many
lot. It's like,
things
you know, it's a
Um,
lot.
it's a lot, yeah. So I think like my big vision is to really help women build an iconic brand, like an iconic brand that really, really resonates with them at a deep-seated core level, like who
Mm,
they are at their core. Like I really, truly believe that every single woman's story should be heard. Every single woman has such a deep why. Every single woman who is in business, like she gets to be seen and heard and felt like in her own unique power. And every single one of them has such a unique gift, such a unique story. And I found that every single client that I've worked with is like, she's like a warrior. Like whether she knows it or not, she's like a warrior woman who is here fighting for something, right? Like whether it's like um a clean skincare line, whether it's intentional jewelry, whether it's like your pelvic power and tapping into your feminine energetics. Like these are just naming a few clients that I've worked with, but like it's anything and everything that you want to bring out in your business. And I truly love working with like multi-passionate women because I've heard so many stories of them getting a no, like somebody just like not understanding every single component of what they do and not knowing how to bring it all together into one space. So I feel like me being a multi-passionate manifesting generator and like a 1-3, so many things that I have tried in my life really helps me bring it all together for them and like package it all up for them. So my big vision is to work with women all around the world. I've worked with international clients like in Italy and Canada and Australia and the US, of course, like I'm in the US, but I've worked with women all over the world. And I really feel like together we can really make this like huge ripple, this huge impact. And when you impact somebody's life, like it just ripples out because they get to impact their clients because they feel so confident in their knowing and so embodied in their brand that they get to bring that transformation to their clients, and then their clients get to bring that transformation to their clients, and so on and so forth, right? And it just creates these like beautiful ripples and waves of impact just by helping that one person, you know? So that's just like what I feel like in my core. And I feel like sometimes what I do is so much more than just branding. Like I
yes.
I combine like the mindset and like part life coaching and transformational energy and all of this stuff. And I've worked with clients and they've asked me about relationships and team building and so many extra things. And I love bringing all of that into the space and just creating so much more, right? Like just so much more. That's why sometimes it's hard for me to define myself because there's so many extra things that I love too. Um, but that's kind of like my big vision there for the business itself. And then for my kids, I think just for my kids, allowing them to lead themselves. Like that's really what I stand for with my kids is allowing them to lead themselves and seeing what truly lights them up. Like I have a 12-year-old son, and I don't know if you've heard about Chat GPT and like AI, but he's actually the one who came in my room running and was like, Mom, you have to see this new thing. It's called Chat GPT. See if you can get on it, play around with it. You can do coding on it. I think you would really like it. So like he's the one who led me to Chat GPT, and now I'm speaking on a stage running a conversation on Chat GPT, OpenAI, because I learned it myself, all from my son telling me about it and like me diving into it and learning it myself, right? So like I think just like seeing them, and he is like incredible. He teaches himself how to code using his game Roblox. He's on Roblox. He's building his own games on there. He's earning his own Robux from other people playing his game. So like he's leading himself on things that he loves, right? My middle son, the same thing. He loves to help me cook. He loves to help support me with other things. He loves to draw. So he loves to like lead himself in those type of things, right? So just seeing each one of them and not comparing them to
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
I was, to other kids, to each other, is really what I've learned in my own journey of becoming an entrepreneur, is that self-leadership and bringing it to them. So one day, if they do want to be entrepreneurs, they know how to lead themselves, right? So like they know what it's like. And I want to break this generational pattern and create like a legacy of wealth for them so that they never have to struggle the way that I once did. And I want to be the one to be able to fund their dreams one day. So that's kind of like my that's gonna make me emotional right now, but
You know what? I got emotional as well. I was just like kind of listening like that because you mentioned about ripple effects, about having clients, and yes, we have clients helping here in the US and UK and all other places. But I think the real effect, and yes, that is amazing because it's part of our life work, but the real amazing ripple effect that you're doing, and I can see how you're light up is with your kids.
Mm,
Different gifts, even your boy bringing you that now that in you with the specific thing that he brought to you, the no, now
AI.
you AI, now you are speaking on stage
Mhm,
because he with his initiative, you actually brought that ripple effect first, bringing the curiosity and let him create, let him be in their own thing and not compare it in between them, right? So I think that is really amazing. And the way that the generations, even the kids, like they even know more about the technology in some
mhm,
areas. I'm telling you,
yeah.
as moms, when we let them choose, is
Mhm,
actually is when despite the live work that we get to do, they're breaking this generation, like you said, that have to work in a certain thing, that they have to do something that they really enjoy. And now at their early age, they can see that there's other ways. And I think that is really amazing. And that thing, I do believe, strongly believe that that was possible because you energetically, and not only energetically, you took that leap of faith. Energetically they took that energy from you, makes sense. So that is really amazing, and we have to acknowledge that, because yes, we are moms, but we're also the woman behind the business. We also the woman that loves praise, why not? So we have so many different roles, and when we acknowledge that, it's just like really, really amazing. And I would love to I do ask this question right now. And I'm asking this on purpose because, like I told you when I was introducing you, I can go on and bring all the flowers. But I would love to ask you, what is your superpower, Cass?
mm.
What is your superpower?
I would say intuition is my superpower. I would fully say that my intuition is my superpower, and I'm badass at designing.
Oh, I love, you know what? Can, I want to hear again because that feels so fucking right, even for me. You are good.
Yeah, I like, so I use my
Good.
intuition fully when I'm designing. Like I can tell you, I'm gonna brag for a second, because I can honestly say like I dived so deep into my clients' energy, and I lead with my intuition that every single time I present a brand to my clients, they say, "Holy fuck, like how am I supposed to actually choose?" Like, how can I actually choose between these options because I love everything that you just created for me? Like,
Yeah.
never once have I had somebody say to me, like, this is completely wrong, start over and do it again. Like, I have not ever had someone ever say that to me. And that's from me leading from a place of putting myself into their shoes, not creating from a space of what I think they need, but from a space of their energy, like fully listening to them and hearing what they want to bring into their brand. And
Mm.
that's where I create from. So that's why I say like my intuition is my full-on superpower, and just the gift is the design. Like, yeah.
I love that. And sometimes, you know what? There's no because. It's just like I'm a badass in design. That's it. That's it. That's it. No explanations, no apologies. I'm a fucking badass and I can take over this. And sometimes it's like but I have to just put flowers. No, without any flowers, I'm fucking good. Like that. And
I
excuse
love
me,
that.
and excuse me, French right here, but sometimes it's so like and I don't know, well, I don't know if it ever happened to you. It's like, well, we know that we're great or in our crafts, of course, and other things. I'm so cookie. I don't cook at all. Like I can cook a sandwich or salad. Like I can't. I can't. One of my sisters, she's amazing at cooking, but it's like for me, it's like simple. I can't. We I grew up in the same house, but I don't know what my mom was in that aspect. But when we know something, and that's why it's gonna be like a tradition here on the podcast. What is your superpower? Because I wanted to that us as a woman acknowledge like, you know what? Fucking badass. I'm a fucking legend. I'm here in this podcast, but also I know that I'm a badass in this. I am this, owning that. And when we own that, we feel like we're bragging, but it's actually no. It's like this is who I am, and it feels so fucking right to say. And I
Yes.
think when we own something on cast, we empower others to share as well. I was having a conversation today. I was back to back to back to back. I was having a conversation earlier, and this lady, she has, like you said, there's people that have companies even bigger than us, whatever. She was in the podcast, and I'll tell her, why do you say yes and to the podcast? Like you have a busy agenda. It's like, well, you know what? Because you just simple ask and you don't care about like it's like, well, I think I removed myself from my own way. I don't care, because when I decide just to go for it and do it, I decide just to lead and I know I'm gonna get better in this and that's it, like as everything. But when we acknowledge a, a desire that we have in our heart or a gift, we give others permission to do the same.
Absolutely.
That's it. Yeah, we do give others permission to do the same. All right. I really love this interaction, Cass. So grateful to have you. And if you're watching the video, you can see this beautiful woman and goddess. Yes, we did that. Um, I'm not gonna say comparison. You have the same energy as Shakira, this beautiful, delightful. It's so good to be in
You're
your
gonna have to play like Shakira in the background of this podcast episode.
podcast, right? Yes, we have to do that. For you, the listener, you can tell with her energy that she has this beautiful balance, like I said. And I'm remarking a lot because I want just to permeate that. And when you remember me, it's like, oh, I'm the Shakira. Like you are the Shakira of branding, and I'm telling you, like because you hold that beautiful energy, really goddess, soft, but also like fearless, boldness, and it really amazing to be in your presence.
Thank
I'll
you.
say that. Thank you so much, Cass. Thank you so much, all of you that are listening to this podcast. Like I said, I'm gonna leave the details on Cass social media. And by the way, before we close up, can you share where, of course, where we can find you? This, like I said, I'm gonna put the details. But right now, how we can work together with you? What are the things that you have right now available to go if someone is looking for a badass on branding?
Thank you. Yeah, so there's multiple ways that you can work with me, but I just recently simplified my offers. So I have a 4-week strategy session, which is one-on-one. It's called the brand codes. So we really dive deep into energetic alignment, your creative expression, your authentic story, and then tapping into your wild impact, because that's really what we're here for, through that intuitive framework. And then I have design packages. So whether you want like a mini brand immersion or a full expansive brand and website, I do both of those. So you can really dive in and have a brand that like speaks to your soul. Um, Really, really fun. Like I love creating brands. It's so fun for me. So those are like my main pathways that you can really work with me, is either design or strategy, and we really go deep into the strategy part. And I've had so many people say things like, whoa, I was not expecting this from a brand person. Like conversations that go like really deep. They're like, I thought you were gonna ask me about my colors and fonts, and I'm like, no, I don't ask about those things. I ask about your story, your why, and like going truly deeper into why you even created this business in the first place, like what led you here. Because I feel like those are the deeper conversations that unlock this magnetism inside of you and this like energy, and it lights up this fire. Like it almost like, I have that little spark in your belly. And like when you ask somebody certain questions, like what you did with me here today, and it just like ignites your soul and you're just like flaming inside because you're so excited about what you're talking about and what you're doing. Like that's what I really help my clients to do, is like I light that little spark. Like I light up that spark and let them feel ignited and empowered in their own energy and their own magic. And things that you don't hear yourself say, I hear you say that. And I help you like really bring that to life. And that's part of my intuition speaking there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like
Yeah.
that's what I bring out in like my offers and things like that. That's why I can't do just a logo. Like for me, it's not like if somebody
Always,
that's
like
like, I just want a logo. No, I'm sorry, I can't do just a logo for you. I've tried before in the past, and again, like it was a lesson of my intuition. I'm like, there's a reason why I can't do just logos, because there's no strategy behind it. There's no intention behind it. There's no story behind it, right? So that's why I switched to only like branding or brand strategy, and those are my main offers. So yeah, thank you.
that sounds really, really amazing. And the way that you say it, like just like I listen things that you cannot listen, or I just, and that is really amazing. That is like I feel the chills. It's like, oh God, I feel like naked. I'm just like it's just like that is powerful, like that. I have to put it on here because yeah, that's true. People can see, can listen. Sometimes there are things that we don't feel or we think that are just minor things, and those are the little tweaks that can make the difference.
Exactly.
That is really, really amazing. This conversation was really delicious. I
Yeah,
really,
it
really
was delicious, right?
was
Such
really, really,
I
really,
feel like I could talk forever. I love this.
yeah, yeah. We went a little bit over, but it was really, really worth it, and I'm really appreciate you, and all of you guys. Thank you for listening to this, and we'll see you in the next. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here. Your presence is greatly appreciated, and it truly means a lot to me. If you could support us by leaving a 5-star review, it will help us to connect with more extraordinary and influential women like you. With that being said, thanks once again, and let's look forward to an amazing and legendary week ahead.